All right. Good morning, everybody. It is Monday, January 20th. This is the All About Nothing podcast kind of daily show. Coming on a little later this morning because I don't work. I have today off. So basically, just going to be hitting up some of the news. Today is the observation of, or the observance and observance sound the same, don't they? They aren't. Today is the observance of Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. And it's a day to reflect on the it's a day to reflect on the sorry, I get distracted by comments and I want to talk about them, but I'm already on something else, so we'll try and get to it. Today is the observance of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. And I hope I'm getting that right. I think it's his birthday, but genuinely, it's just a recognition of who Martin Luther King Jr. was, the um, the cause that he lost his life over, in order to. Oh, MLK Day is on April 4th. Okay. Sorry, again, distracted. Today's the observance of Martin Luther King Jr. birthday, Martin Luther King Jr.'s life, I guess. And I could be wrong about that. I'll have to check. I'll have to research that. But and it's a lot to do with the accomplishments that. Oh, April 4th is when he got taken out. Thank you. Um, it is to recognize the accomplishments of a man and so many other men and women that worked along with him to bring light to what was um, what was a terrible situation for non-whites in this country. I mean, we had segregation that um, blacks could not enter into public places uh, except through maybe a different door. Couldn't drink at the same water fountains. Our schools were segregated. Blacks and whites didn't go to school together. It was a time period that lasted, basically after Reconstruction through the 1960s until we actually had laws enacted. And it's Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Just pursued and worked tirelessly, along with, again, everyone that that was trying to reach the same goals. And mostly it's mostly about equality. um, One could argue that in the United States now we have a different type of inequality, that is more of a it is more in line with financial inequality, the wealth gap, that sort of thing. I think uh, there's probably nobody clearing $1 million that's watching this, but if you are, kudos to you. I don't even know that $1 million makes you rich anymore. It certainly makes it a little easier, but I don't know that $1 million means wealth. It certainly used to, um, but wealth now. You look at the top the top three or four individuals on the planet as far as wealth go, and you got Elon Musk, who's $500 billion. You have Bill, Melinda Gates. You have Jeff Bezos. Like these are legitimately people that that have some some percentage of all of the wealth on the planet. I mean, I guess that goes for all of us, right? If I have $1, I have some percentage of the wealth on the planet. Um, Lucky couple says, I was just thinking last night that $1 million isn't even that much if you have to be in the billions. Yeah, no, $1 million. I I don't know that I have ever. I mean, I'm sure that I have, if I didn't have any bills and I didn't have anything to have to pay for, that over the course of my 46 years, I may have made earned $1 million, but you know, I did that the hard way by going to work and started out scrubbing floors and scraping ink off of the floor of a print shop. It's a gross job. Not very thankful for it, if I'm being honest. So anyway, yeah, the inauguration is today. Um, I am going to take the podcast live during the inauguration. Um, I think that it'll be something interesting to commentate on. It's not. It's less tennis. Um, yeah, I think between if you have lived, I mean, if you have worked for at least 20 years, then the possibility that you might have cleared $1 million, and I've been working since I was 15 at jobs or whatever, after school jobs. But yeah, I think the possibility that I've earned that money, I don't have it anymore, because things cost money for us at the bottom end of this. Things cost money. Kids cost money, families, houses, everything costs money. Anyway, I digress. So yeah, going to do a live stream during the inauguration, so that I don't know, drive up content and get us higher in the algorithm. um Lucky Couple says that she says, I pray no one tries to take out our new president. um I don't think that's likely. um and I have not heard any rumors about that being why they moved the inauguration indoors. Um, you know, uh, whether you like Donald Trump or not, I think everyone can admit that sometimes he exaggerates some of whatever it is he's talking about. And so there is sometimes a tendency for rumors like that to be raised. And um, goodness, there seems to be a lot of people in the chat that thinks that his life is potentially in danger. Look, violence against anyone is uh, unnecessary. There is no reason. Uh, it just doesn't make sense. Yeah, no, Kathy, you're right. That is true. They don't know the people that. Although it's funny, like I have conversations with people that are diehard Trump supporters, that they absolutely they vote for him. They think that he's the best option for the country. And um, when he says things though, uh, that they admit that he is not a truthful person. They admit that he lies. But then you have other Trump supporters that will not admit that he tells lies. That that Greenland should be a territory of the United States. That the Panama Canal should be taken back over. Um, yeah, don't. Yeah, I don't disagree. Every president, every politician, they will lie. They will promise something that they can't deliver on. It's just a fact. Uh, and for those that deny that, I think are doing themselves an injustice. You know, sometimes what they lie about is really weird. Um, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Some of the things that Trump has lied about over the course of this last, oh God, 10 years. It is some of the stuff that he chooses to lie about really doesn't make a lot of sense. But I'm not 78, almost 79 years old. So I don't know what my brain is going to be like when I reach, this upper maximum of life. Um, it could be I'll just be yelling at pigeons. I'll try to make sure I do it with a camera so that I can get this raised up as content. Um, we did experience a short-lived non TikTok time yesterday, which sound like really weird words to say all run together. But we did have a short period of time. I want to say some people said it was 13, 15 hours, something like that, where TikTok was down. They closed it down, and I do want to speak a little bit to that. And uh, it was an unnecessary stunt for those that believe that there was a uh, that there was nothing to it, that there wasn't anything that there wasn't anything behind it, behind the whole operation of it going dark and then coming back up, because the Biden administration had already said that they weren't going to prosecute TikTok on the ban, that they were not going to push for the app and the software and the servers and everything to go dark. They were not. They were going to allow the Trump administration to make its own decision on that and decide how it is that they were going to either prosecute or not prosecute, potentially kick it down the road 90 days so that a potential buyer could come in. Uh, yeah, so there was no prosecution, there was no persecution coming to TikTok, and TikTok made the decision to take themselves down. TikTok dropped all activity to its application, to its web here in the United States, and it went dark. Uh, Now, at this point, you can really only speculate on the reasons as to why TikTok would choose to do this to itself. Um, I don't know. Um, it's it strikes me as odd behavior, because when the TikTok app went down, I'm just going to pull up my screenshot because I took a picture of it. When the TikTok app went down, a message came up saying, "Sorry, TikTok isn't available right now. A law banning TikTok has been enacted in the United States. Unfortunately, that means you can't access TikTok." Okay, so that's the initial message. Um, it's not true. Uh, the law banning TikTok uh, did not go into effect yet when TikTok got shut down. For most people, users started recognizing about 9:30, 10 o'clock on the East Coast that TikTok wasn't available. And that's when you get this message. Um, so it wasn't yet Sunday the 19th. And the second part of that message says, "We are fortunate that President Trump has indicated that he will work with us on a solution to reinstate TikTok once he takes office. Please stay tuned." Um, that one's a little bit of a hard pill to wrap my head around, because TikTok came back up yesterday afternoon, and Donald Trump is not yet sworn in to be the president. So, how did President Trump get TikTok reinstated if, one, he wasn't the president yet? Um, Two, regardless of anyone's opinion on Donald Trump or TikTok, um, TikTok ban would not have become even a thing if it weren't for Donald Trump in 2018 trying to get it banned. That was his mission. That was his goal. He didn't like the fact that there were young people uh, that were um, messing up his rallies. That was one of the big things. Was people would come on TikTok and tell people to buy up all of the tickets available for Donald Trump's 2018 campaign rallies. I guess they were campaign rallies. Um, so he and his affiliates uh, didn't like TikTok because it seemed to be working adversely to his goals. And in 2018, he tried to get Republicans in Congress to ban TikTok. They were finally successful in 2024. And TikTok going dark on Saturday night into Sunday afternoon was not the United States doing. That was not that was because if if McDonald's, this is just a hypothetical, if McDonald's was told that they have to stop selling food at 11:59 on December 31st, do you think that they would stop selling food 3 hours before that? No, they wouldn't. They would they would sell food right up until the minute they could because they want to maximize a profit. Same with TikTok. If the ban was supposed to go into effect at 11:59 on the uh, 18th of January, 11:59 or 12:01 on January 19th. Um, if TikTok wasn't just performing a stunt, then it would have gone silent at the very last minute, and that's not what happened. This was a stunt. This was an attempt to uh, and it says it right in the message. You know, thanking Donald Trump for working with TikTok in order to bring TikTok back. If that were the case, it should have remained down until 12:01 p.m. today. Uh, whether he was signing an executive order or something like that. That's that at least had all of the timing worked out. Sure, I think that it would have been more likely. But I think this was I can't Cho, gentleman that is the CEO over TikTok. Um, I think that this was him trying to pay homage to Donald Trump in an attempt, um, to, I guess, you know, give Trump an initial win. Look, again, whether you like Donald Trump or you not, whether you support him, whether you voted for him, whether you didn't do any of that, um, I I read a comment and it distracted me, and now I lost my thought, which I do a lot. So for those of you trying to sit through this, I apologize. But uh, whether you like Donald Trump or not, whether you support him, whether you voted for him, um, Donald Trump is the reason that TikTok got banned. It's just a fact. That was his doing. And someone in the comments asked me, and this is what distracted me. Cyclops asked, "Did you hear what Trump said about Elon and the vote counting machines?" Yeah, I heard. Um, I heard that Elon spent months in Pennsylvania. This was out of Donald Trump's mouth. Um, and I think I reshared or I reposted the video. But at the the winning rally or something in Pennsylvania last night, or wherever it was, um, Donald Trump, and I'll paraphrase, basically said Elon Musk spent months leading up to the election in Pennsylvania, and that if it weren't for Elon, they wouldn't have won Pennsylvania in such a massive landslide. Now, again, landslides. I've had this discussion before. Um, a landslide is a difficult thing to claim when a state population has, however many millions of people in it, and however many millions of voters, and somehow you claim a massive landslide victory when you won by 100,000 votes or so. I just, I'm, I feel like if it had been one vote, he would have claimed a massive landslide victory. Um, it is a comeback. You LL missed this one. You can call this one a comeback. I feel like Ari Melber quoting rap songs. But yeah, it's Elon. So Trump said that Elon spent months in Pennsylvania, and one of the things he threw in there was that he really knows computers. And then he went a little further, and he said he really knows voting computers. Again, I'm paraphrasing, but that's essentially what he said. And it's almost like, and here, it's almost like Donald Trump is admitting to things or claiming things that either aren't true or are true. But he almost made it sound as though Elon was in Pennsylvania with I guess, with a team of computer engineers, because Elon is not an engineer. Elon has never invented anything. Elon has never, ever created anything. I mean, kids. He's got what, 11 kids between four different women. But he's never created. He's never built anything. He's never created anything. He's the guy with the money, and they listen to him because he's got the money. That, that's essentially all Elon is. He's the money guy. Um, and I think I talked about this a couple days ago, that Elon didn't invent SpaceX. He didn't invent Tesla. He didn't invent Neuralink. He didn't invent PayPal. These are things that he took his generational wealth that his parents had created from gem and diamond mines in Africa. Um, that's where all the money comes from, and so Elon is the product of an apartheid, almost like slavery situation in Africa, that his family created an immense amount of wealth. Um, so Donald Trump basically alluded to the fact that, and you can't really figure out what it is he means in a statement like that, because it's so wide. It's such a wide statement to say Elon Musk was in Pennsylvania for months figuring out the voting machines. I mean, I'm not going to I'm not going to lean in on that conspiracy because it sounds absurd. Um, so, but there are crazier things, right? Thank you for the flower, Greg. Appreciate it. Or for the rose. There are weirder things that I've probably heard in the last, I don't know, 160 hours, 80, you know, 8 days or so. But that's a weird one. Uh, the fact that Donald Trump would get up there and say something that would create some speculation is insane to me. Like, and again, if you were here earlier, I said the same thing. My brain is not a age riddled 78-year-old brain. So I don't know what potentially Donald Trump is thinking when he says those sorts of things. It seems like maybe it would be better just to stay on point. Um, but I don't know what it's like to have a defunct brain that is, on its way out, which is 78 years old. You know, typical lifespan in the United States is, I don't know, upper 70s, maybe mid 70s to upper 70s. Um, he'll probably live longer than that, but you can't always prevent what happens to the brain as you age, and you lose cognitive abilities. You become slightly impaired. It's just a fact. And for those people that aren't capable of um, recognizing that a 70-year-old man could possibly be in mental decline. Uh, I hate that for you because you're denying what's potentially coming for you. Um, I think I've been in cognitive decline for at least the last 10 or 15 years. It's supposed to be a joke. Could I get some ha-has in the chat? It's okay. You don't have to. Um, yeah, Trump is the oldest president ever elected. He will take office as the oldest president. He will also take office, and this is just a reminder for people that whether you like the information or not, Donald Trump was convicted of 34 felonies. Regardless of how any appeals go, regardless of how a potential case makes its way up to the Supreme Court, Donald Trump will die a convicted felon. And that was because he was convicted by a jury of his peers, the, uh, regardless of whether you think the trial was fair to him, regardless of whether you think that he didn't commit the crime, a jury based on evidence found him guilty. Now, you could possibly say that uh, no, an appeal does not remove a conviction. An appeal does not remove the felony. That is that isn't true. So it doesn't matter whether it was corrupt or not. Um, it just doesn't. Uh, some part of Donald Trump thinks that he didn't commit a crime, and actually, probably all of Donald Trump thinks he didn't commit a crime. Um, so I mean, kudos for him for blocking that out completely. Uh, um, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. It's uh, it's it's a it's an interesting situation. Um, but yeah, it's we will be, and even and it's entirely possible, now that and now I'm speculating. It is entirely possible that Donald Trump could take office. He could write an executive order that says uh, appeals that go in your favor remove convictions or remove felonies. It's entirely possible that he would do something like that. So just you know let that one sink in. Um, but today will start the last 4 years of Donald Trump's presidency, unless other things ensue. Uh, Cyclops says that he thinks that they'll use the 25th Amendment on him at some point and Vance takes over. You know, so Donald Trump is entering his presidency with the lowest approval rating across Republicans and Democrats, lowest approval rating in the history of our country, and it's sitting right there about 41%. This is based on how Donald Trump uh, does or how basically the transition, and people see and I people see this current transition as being one of the worst in history. And I guess I have a hard time wrapping my head around that. And I'm not a Donald Trump guy. I'm sure that's probably pretty telling, but I don't I don't think that the transition uh has been any less smooth, I guess maybe the word. I don't think that they're asking for people to give approval or disapproval on Donald Trump's transition. Um, and I think that's a hard one to judge because I don't understand how you can assign uh, an an up or down on something that is one ongoing and two Um, you know, I'd have to check, but I'm not sure how many of his cabinet posts and other positions have already been voted in on by the Senate. But I don't even know that any of those happen until he's actually inaugurated in the president. So I don't understand how you come up with an approval on on something that is, I don't know. It seems arbitrary. It doesn't seem like it has any, these poll numbers on how Donald Trump's approval rating as not the president. That's similar to me asking for people to give me an approval rating based on how I'm not a janitor. I don't. Who cares? Now pick something like a pilot. Uh, that seems like an important job that I would want a higher approval rating on. How was Barrett as a pilot? Well, he crashed the plane, so zero zero out of 10. I don't know. So we are we are bound for history. Uh, I think a lot of people still question whether or not how history is going to look back on Biden, how history is going to look back on the two Trump terms. Um, and that's speculation, but we'll see. I will I will say the same thing that I've been saying for weeks, that that while I did not vote for Donald Trump, I certainly hope that the job that he does benefits the country. Um, and there's not much more to say about that, except that that the hope is that the country does well during the next 4 years, because of the good efforts that the president and his administration did. That's that's all we can hope for. That is not to say, though, however, that on the All About Nothing podcast we won't make light of things. We won't. We'll use our First Amendment to make jokes and find the funny in some of the potential bad things. But again, that's speculation. We don't know what's going to happen. It's it, we don't know until it's here, until it's happening. Um, so we will see. I'm going to wrap this up. I appreciate everybody that participated in the chat on TikTok. Um, the only thing is left to say is, stay safe, be kind, and keep your hands to yourself. And everybody, good.